Hello, everyone. Welcome. Episode 126, the Reaction Squad podcast. Special guests here. We have Paul Rugg and Tom Ruegger.
Hi there.
Hello. Hello. Hey, there's a picture on the Twitter that makes me look like I'm going to burp into a microphone.
I know. That's why I don't show my face.
Thanks for that. Yes.
The picture of him, yeah, pretty classic. Also, we have Richard Kenobi, which I'm still going to call him that forever. I'm sure he's got a new name now.
I
and
do
he can
have
definitely
a new name.
He can update you on that, and also Humanoid Freak, which I'm pretty sure his name stems from, you guessed it, Freakazoid. So, anyways, yeah. With that being said, I'll let Richard talk for a little bit, introduce himself as well, and Humanoid, and then obviously Paul and Tom.
Hi, I'm Richard. I'm a longtime collaborator of the Reaction podcast. I haven't actually done a podcast. I've been out of the game for a while, but now, thanks to this, I'm now here talking to my two favorite heroes and my friend Nidge, and it's an honor to be here. So thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I got nothing else. I'm nervous.
Don't be.
Don't be nervous.
Okay.
And I'm Humanoid. Like, I've been watching Freakazoid since I was a kid. It's like rewatching this as an adult. The humor is way funnier now. It's really an honor to talk to you guys right now.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff went over my head as a kid, and now it's like, oh, I see what y'all did there.
Yeah. These guys were my heroes.
I actually bought those, but they were not showing up to after July. So I was like, oh. So I turned around and bought even them digitally on the internet on Amazon to watch them, just to kind of remind, just kind of get more, back into it, so I'm up to speed again, because it's been a while since I've seen it. So go ahead, Paul.
Me?
No, Paul. Am I breaking up?
Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you. Hello.
Sorry, there's a storm coming through, so I hope I'm not affecting everything.
Oh, yes. Did you have a question for me? I'm not sure.
We were just introducing everybody real quick, and your turn was up.
Hi everyone. Hi, I'm Paul. I worked with Tom Ruegger on Animaniacs and Freakazoid and other shows that maybe you would like to pay us for at some point in the near future. And yeah, that's everything I can tell you.
That's really it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, am I? I'm not supposed to talk now, right? Let's go to questions.
No.
Panel.
Yes, our Freaka panel right now.
All right, the first questions are Richard, you were taking the first few?
Yes, I am. So the story goes back as long as time itself. It began in the dawn of the era known as the 90s. You guys were on a hit with such memorable shows like Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain, and Paul started working with you for a while, Tom. And then it's the mid 90s. It's 1995, and now you got to come up with a new hit, and it has to be a superhero show, something that you have experience in because you were an executive producer on Batman the Animated Series, but you're told it can't be dark and serious because Steven likes it to be funny. The kids, they like the comedy. So how did Freakazoid start? Like what led to it?
Yes, Paul Dini and Bruce Timm were working with Steven Spielberg for months on Freakazoid, on a comedy show. Bruce came up with the design. Paul Dini came up with a lot of the situations and some of the characters. And then Steven said, no, funnier. And then they went back and they made it funnier. No, funnier, Steven said. And at that point, he was really loving all the work that was being done on Animaniacs and he said, I want it to be like Animaniacs, basically. And I think Bruce was like, well, I'm making Batman. I'm in that zone, so I don't think I want to go make Animaniacs at the same time. So anyway, they kicked it over to me, and Steven said, and so and it was January or December or January before the September that it needed to go on the air. So we had made Animaniacs a few years before. We had like a two-year lead time. So now we had like a 9-month lead time. So it was really frantic. So the first thing I did, I walked down the hall and I went into Paul Rugg and John McCann's offices, and I said, "You two, hey, how you want to do a funny superhero?" And they're like, "Not really," but they were game for it. And then I'm gonna let Paul start talking.
Yes, I want to hear Paul's side of the story.
No, we had. As we were just wrapping up Animaniacs, I think, or I don't remember what we were doing.
We were doing after a certain season of it.
Yeah. And we had heard that, Paul Dini and Bruce had been working on this thing and it had been going on forever. And then Tom literally, as he said, he came in, John McCann and I were just sort of sitting in my office and just sort of enjoying not doing anything. And Tom said, have you heard about this Freakazoid show? And I'm like, yeah. And we thought he was going to say, well, it's over and we're all going to do something else. And he said, well, now I'm like, oh dear, that's unfortunate because we didn't want to write a superhero show because that just wasn't we didn't really know what that was. But and then Tom said, okay, so whether you like it or not, it's the Christmas break and we all have to work on the show now. And so I think I went into it very begrudgingly, or like, what is this? What are we doing? But then I think a week into it, we talked about it. I was really happy that it came along because Tom kind of, Mr. Ruegger there sort of was like, we're just gonna play around. It's gonna be weird and bizarre, and that kind of appealed. Nice thing was we were already late, so the show was late. I mean, we should have been in production for months and months and months ahead of time, so there wasn't a lot of time to think, and I think ultimately that was a blessing. It was like, I don't know, I have no idea. We're just gonna do it.
One of the things that I think you guys did this intentionally that represents the struggle to get it out at the time it was supposed to. Excuse me. Was the promos. There were no traditional promos for this show. There was a poster, but then there were these black and white promos that had voiceovers telling everybody that the show is being worked on. It'll be done when it's done. There's no footage. Yeah. There's nothing to kind of give us insight as to what we can expect from this.
They were a parody of cruise commercials back then.
Yeah,
and, they were black and white, and they were like cruise ships in a Caribbean island, and just simple, beautiful paintings, drawings. Here at Freakazoid, we don't know what we're doing. We're really behind schedule. We don't get this done soon, we'll be fired. Uh-oh. I guess that's... They don't say Freakazoid coming this fall on Kids WB. So we did a bunch of those, and they explained nothing about the show. Absolutely zero.
Yeah, there was like zero press information. It just said from the creators of Animaniacs comes Freakazoid, and that's it. We had nothing to go on. But then it comes out, and
that must have been a surprise.
Yeah, no, it's like it's here. It's like, oh my god, it's like so much agony. It's like because it was supposed to be so many different things. It's like it was like Frankenstein's monster come to life for animation. Because I remember Bruce Timm, he wanted it to be darker and he wanted it to have kind of lean towards mature jokes. But then the finished product, it's like, no, it's not dark at all. In fact, I think people would people would assume that this is somehow connected to Animaniacs. Like maybe this was just a new segment, but then when they watch the show, they're like, oh my god, this is a show. It's like, this is amazing.
Yeah, we felt the very same thing. We're like, really? It's on the air? Really?
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, finally, it's here. It after so long, it's here.
So based on some of those time constraints, for lack of better words, it's like, in a sense, like you said, it's kind of like a blessing in disguise, right? Looking back at it, and I know
there was very little waste. You see, the blessing was that anything we wrote was immediately put into production and turned into a cartoon, whether it was great or good or okay or bad. I mean, we were just, come on, let's get
everything was thrown in there. There were.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had no studio meddling either. They just kind of just told you, we have one order, get it out. Don't care how, just do it. We don't care what you do.
Well, there was no time for meddling. No. So John and Paul wrote, just tons of great, funny segments. And as long as they were funny, I think the three of us were very happy. And then Mitch Shara was producing it. And it was just, I learned recently that Tim Walker, one of the great animators of our era, he supervised, oversees the main title of the Freakazoid segment that Mitch Shara boarded and directed.
Oh my god!
And that's a good example of like the sort of the concept of the show, because Freakazoid in that main title, it's very silly. I mean, we got live action monkeys jumping on.
Yes, you have things that you have the villains that'll be shown throughout the series. You have. I don't know if this was a foreshadowing joke, but you introduce the Freakmobile, which is kind of meant to be a play on the toys that get made from these cartoons, but Freakazoid never got a toy or any toy license from them. And then, of course, the most obscure thing that everybody asked about, and I don't know what answers you provide, but you introduced Freakazoid at the end of that Animaniacs song to kind of hype it up after the main title.
Sure, in the first episode, that's right. Yeah, and we didn't know what we were doing on any of it. So
we had no idea who Freakazoid was. No, right. We didn't. There was actually zero ulterior motive. We're like, just Tom sort of wrote it, and we're like, yeah, that's great, fine. Yeah, I mean, there was like we didn't know. We had no idea.
It rhymed with a word that ended with "et."
Like Jeanette, kind of, I guess. So still 28 years later, you guys don't know who Freakazoid is? Like,
oh yeah, we know, but we have to get paid.
Yeah,
again.
but we're not allowed to
okay. Yeah. So that's staying in the back.
Yeah, they have to do a reboot.
Oh boy, that's exciting.
So what I was getting at was it seemed like, at least for my time, and one of you can correct me, but when I watched it, it seemed like you all started like the whole meme thing of shows, like like you randomly you put those old people clapping, stuff like that, and
cutaways. Yeah,
like that. I've never seen that before. I mean, maybe there was something before that's done that, but at least in cartoons, right? It seems like it was like one of the first. It was like
we clearly invented that, and anyone that's ever done it in the future should bow down to us. No. I mean, I think we had seen that done in Python.
Yeah.
I mean, we certainly knew or were influenced by Python, by all the great comedies, by the Jack Benny Show, which I know you're like, wait a minute, what? But that's like all that kind of hip stuff. Or
the first 20 minutes of Wheeler and Woolsey's wasn't Wheeler and Woolsey, it was anyway, Elza Poppin', the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
For cartoons, right? Like, I've never seen that in cartoons before, at least. So that's we sort of, as Tom said, we kind of, like, Tom would go edit with I think the first season Al Breitenbach was doing it with you, and then Joe Gall, or I'm not quite sure,
right, but both of them. Yep.
But we had also Al Breitenbach, who was one of our editors, he had access to the Warner Brothers film library, and he
Right.
came in one day and said, "I can."
Uh-oh.
well,
like-
He came in and said, I found some really great footage.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it. And what
Right,
was it
yeah.
called?
It was just like the weirdest stuff. It was stuff in the Warner Brothers library that we had access to. And so we were like, yeah, let's throw all that stuff in. So he would almost take it as a badge of honor to go, I got something really weird. I got something really strange. It's a monkey. Do whatever. I forget. So yeah. So that's sort of became that was sort of one of the feathers in our quiver, or a quiver in our cap, or whatever. But we certainly use that to great effect, I think.
Yeah, one of my favorites was when they were on the carts and after that long song with the big brain dude, they were chasing each other on the carts.
The lobe.
Yeah, the lobe. Yeah, and they crashed into the wall. The fucking new cloud, like,
Yeah.
it was just so random. It was great. It was great. Continue though.
Are you hearing music, or is it just me?
No, I'm hearing it too. I didn't know we have. Do we have music now? No.
We have background music, yeah.
John,
That's
turn it down
awesome.
turn it down just a little bit, John. I think it might. Is it too loud or?
Wow, it's like Relaxavision. I may fall asleep.
Yes. That's awesome.
Or Screamo-Vision.
Or
Hey.
scream. Ah!
Scream!
So John McCann wrote this episode called Dance of Doom. And John
Yes.
was he's a producer and a writer on the series, really a hilarious person. And so Dance of Doom was written, and we were desperate to get a voice for Freakazoid, and we didn't have one yet. And we had auditioned everybody in town, and everybody was coming in and going, "Ah, I'm Freakazoid, I'm freaky, ah!" And we realized that would be probably sustaining that for half an hour might be legendary, but canceled. So, so Paul, story editor, writer, and producer on the show, we were at a recording session, or we had an audition session, and I said, Paul, give us at least something. Give us an idea of what it could be. So he went into the booth and recorded the Dance of Doom script. And then when it was done, and it was good, and he was silly sometimes, he was smart at some other time. And then we said, hey, Paul, how about improving some sections of this, just sort of like going off script and doing stuff. And that's really where Freakazoid, I think, gelled at that moment. That's when it was like, oh my gosh, because Paul Rugg is a genius at improvisation. So what was some of the stuff you improv that you remember, Paul?
Oh, well, I think we were the whole Low Bridge, Everybody Down.
Yes. That was a good one.
Oh, I think he froze again.
And I know he did some improv on the Candle J show.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was all. That was a lot of improvisation. Tom said at one point, stop and become like director Jerry and sort of talk about Cosgrove, Eddie Asner, a lovable guy. I kiss him every day, and these kids. And I think that take went on for like 5 minutes, and I'm just talking until Tom was like, "Okay, I think we're done." And but we improvise a ton, and I think Tom's right. We sort of realized, oh, you know what? We're not story based. Like, we're not going to try to tell a story and wrap it up. We realized then it was like, oh, this is just fun. We're just going to have some fun with these characters. And that. I remember I went into the booth and I'm like, well, what should I say? You know, and he goes, I'll tell you when to just go crazy. And that's what I did. So, yeah.
And Stephen approved of it?
Yes, we sent it to Stephen, and we actually have an audio cassette of Stephen's reaction, because we audioed the phone call when he was calling. Well, I finally saw all the 2 episodes of Freakazoid that you sent, and he loved it. And he said, I think you go on too long on certain things, and so you have to trim that back. But the problem was we were going on the air in like a week, and we had no other footage to fill in those gaps. So it wasn't, we weren't able to edit anything out. So
Right.
that's why the entire improv for Dance of Doom is in, and I think I'm glad we kept it in.
Yes, absolutely.
He also, in that first phone call, he said, I love Handman. He loved that, but I hate Moron, that character. I hate him, and I don't want to see him. And bury this into the last episode. But again, this was when we were getting our footage in. It was in August, and we're going to go on the air in like a week or so. And we had already, and he had been busy with other things and hadn't been reading the scripts. And we had already written an episode that featured, a half hour of Moron coming down like E.T. And so to satisfy Steven's desires that he doesn't see Moron again, we changed Moron's name to Boron.
Boron.
Done.
Done.
There's no more Moron.
No, that's sad though. I liked Moron.
We liked him, and he stayed in the show.
That's all that matters. Well, you talk about improvisation and stuff that was just thrown in there. I know it's a little too soon, but I have to ask: was Batman part of that? Like when we see Batman in there for the first episode, we see his silhouette. No. That was all written by John McCann. So the thing is a lot of people say, well, that must have been improvised. That was a crazy thing. John McCann is like the most brilliant writer, and he's just bizarre and weird and funny. And John wrote all that stuff in. Basically, anytime you hear like that's improvised, because that's me just being Jerry Lewis. But right.
But any like clever lines, that's pretty much John McCann or Tom Ruegger. I think John wrote the pull the string thing, didn't he, for the Bela Lugosi thing? But pull the string. Yeah, we or you did. I don't know. Yeah, we had just all seen Ed Wood. With nice. Johnny Depp, and we were big fans of that movie, and specifically we were big fans of Martin Landau.
Yes.
And pull the string, and so we just decided to put that in, and nobody cared. But again, if I tell you how much nobody cared about everything we were doing, it just sort of went and was animated, and I think about something like Pull the String, being approved today. People are going, so what is that? Well, it's a reverend style. Like, we would never have gotten away with any of that, ever.
It's like as a kid, seeing that for the first time, like I didn't understand any of that. And then I grew up, started watching Ed Wood films, and I saw Bride of the Monster, was it? Where he said... Right, yes. Yeah, where he says, pull the string. And then I went back and watched Freakazoid, and when he finally said it, I couldn't stop laughing. It was Glenn or Glenda, wasn't it? Glenn or Glenda, pull the string? I think it was, is it Glenn or Glenda, or was it Bride of the Monster?
I think it was Bride of the Monster.
Okay. Yeah, it must have been Bride of the Monster.
Right, Bride of the Monster, because he was the puppet master, right?
Yeah. I love that we all know what Bride of the Monster is.
I love the Boris Karloff movies, and I'm a sucker for any references to those movies. So
also just about Al Brautenbach. So Paul improv this thing. His girlfriend's saying, "Why did you do that?" So now we're all tied up. He says, "Well, I wanted to just do something like, on F Troop when." Sergeant O'Rourke would say, you're going to wear a dress, Agarn. I'm not going to wear a dress. You're going to wear a dress, Agarn. And then you go, and there's Agarn in a dress. So Paul Rugg said that, and Al Breitenbach said, "I've got this Larry Storch footage."
Oh my God!
Nice.
And that was just a wonderful ad there.
Oh my God! I think that's the charm though of the first season is the segments. And all of this whole world, it kind of it must have been somewhat inspired by Animaniacs, because Animaniacs is best known not just for the Warners, but for the whole cast. And Freakazoid now had that cast, and it had many different characters. Some that would be one-offs, like Toby Danger, and other ones that would have recurring segments, like the Huntsman or Lord Bravery.
I like the Danger one.
Yes, Toby Danger.
Barrel. And they deliberately do the cheap graphics chop on.
Yes, and you actually. and you actually got the voice of Benton Quest from the original Johnny Quest series to play Toby's dad.
John Messenger.
Yeah,
John Messenger. Yes.
Well, that was a Tom Minton written script and brilliantly executed. I know Mitch Schauer, our producer, was a huge Johnny Quest fan, so he really made sure it was like true to form.
Yes.
I love that. I was like, this was hilarious.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite segments because I love Johnny Quest. I watched that with my father when I was very young, and it was just so cool to see some Johnny Quest love. But I was like, oh man, it sucks that that's only one segment.
Well, yeah, but clearly it had absolutely nothing to do with Freakazoid.
No.
Yeah. I mean, Freakazoid didn't even walk through.
No, he didn't. He's too busy.
He's like, all of a sudden the background just running. Just like, that's unfortunate that didn't happen, but
there just must have been so much fun on that first season with all of those different segments and those characters.
Well, there was no one telling us no. But there was also no. Everyone was saying, "Get it done." So there was a lot of pressure to get the thing wrapped up.
Yeah. Well, now that we're done with, I like to cleverly segue into my second question, which does involve season 2, because that seemed to be where, okay, they didn't say no to you and they didn't give you any rules or meddling in the first season, but once they saw Freakazoid season 1 come out, there were significant changes in season 2. Gone were the segments with the characters, and now it was just, as the title is telling you, it's all about Freakazoid.
Right.
Was there any what did the studio tell you to do that, or was that just something that you just decided to, like, okay, let's focus on Freakazoid? Like, how did that affect your second season process? I'm wondering.
Well, so Tom, you were about to do Road Rovers, right?
Yeah, I think
you were about to.
Paul and John took over the producing title, and I was just
So Tom was like, I'll be here, but I want to do Road Rovers now because I'm exhausted from the first season of Freakazoid, and then Gene McCurdy came into took John McCann and I out to lunch at a place called the Smokehouse, which is right across from Warner Brothers. It's the most amazing place. And she's like, do you guys want to be the producers of the show? And we both said, no, we don't really want to be the producers of the show.
She Bruce Tim and Eric Radomski, Joel.
Yeah. And we were like, no, that's really, because that's not fun. You know, we would rather have fun. She goes, well, what if it could be fun? And we're like, well, okay, keep talking. And she goes, I'll take you to the Smokehouse a lot. And, like, okay, and Gene was, and by the way, Gene McCurdy is kind of the reason that Tom and I and John McCann and everybody got to play, right?
Yes.
She was the guard making sure that the sandbox was not infiltrated by evil. Okay,
she was an angel.
Yeah. Anyway, she goes, all right, well, now that you've said yes to being producers, in 5 minutes, we have to be at Warner Brothers for a meeting. with Jamie Kellner and the Suzanne Daniels. And these are all they kind of were running Kids WB and Kids WB. And they had decided that the reason Freakazoid it wasn't hitting its target demographic is because it didn't make any sense. And they were, what we think you should do, in order to make more sense, why don't you do what? Oh, we have an idea. Why don't you just tell a long Freakazoid story? And we're like, okay, if that's what you want. And they go, yeah, because we don't want to do it. We're like, fine. Little did they know that we had no intention of making any sense. And frankly, for me, telling the longer Freakazoid stories allowed for more diversions anyway of bizarreness and weirdness. But yeah, it was sad to lose Huntsman. It was sad to lose Lord Bravery. It was sad to not be able to do anything else. But we sort of rolled with that. And but we kind of also knew this. We knew that the network kind of hated the show. That was sort of a given. They were like, we really don't like this. So we knew that we
Wow.
Yeah, but Steven liked it a lot. So so we just started writing again.
I've lost myself.
Not only did Tom kind of have to step away to sort of like supervise road rovers, but we also lost Mitch Shower. So we brought in Rich Aarons, who did who's the producer of Animaniacs, and he sort of stepped in. But it had, season 2 had its own struggles and stuff. But but what was nice was knowing that Tom had our back, Steven had our back, Gene McCurdy had our back, and but we also knew there wasn't going to be a third season. Just was never going to happen. So we also knew we were canceled halfway through writing the second season. So we were just having fun by that point.
Right. You had great guest stars in the second season. Well, you had Ricardo Montalban. He played a kind of a bigger role in the second season, didn't he?
He did.
Right. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He became his own Freakazoid.
The Island of Dr. Mystico starred
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
We had Norm Abram.
Norm Abram.
It makes me laugh that we think of him as a great star.
Of course, throughout the series, we had Ed Asner.
Yeah.
That's what I was. I mixed Tim Curry with Ed Asner.
Joe Leahy.
Yes,
Joe
Leahy, who's the awesome announcer and who became his own character, who would interact with Freakazoid on occasion, especially the episode where he needed Freakazoid's advice because Freakazoid had to help people. That was part of the hero's code, as the Lobe told him.
Joe Leahy's character was trying to become a Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, a better actor.
Then the butler, the new butler in season 2.
Yes,
was Jonathan Harris.
That's awesome.
Dr. Smith from Lost in Space. Yeah, I mean, so and again, it was just like we were just having fun. We were just having fun.
But
we were having fun.
Were there any drawbacks though to now doing Freakazoid season 2 in the untraditional sense? Because it seems, ironically, season 1 was untraditional in how it just threw everything at the window, and it was all about trying to have a good time and make this something pleasant to watch, no matter what the mood is. But now season 2, it's like, okay, it's a superhero show, but that kind of defeats what season 1 was supposed to be, because the joke is Freakazoid is a superhero, but he is his own superhero. He's not a superhero like Batman or Superman where he has morals or values. He's just
What?
He has no morals, no values.
Okay, well let me rephrase.
What a hero!
The traditional morals, like he has good centered morals that apply to him and the world he's in. But Batman and Superman, they're about okay, don't okay. I'm trying to think of a way to save myself, but no,
there's no way you can't save yourself. You're doing it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I think what he means is Freakazoid is unique in the way how he takes care of business.
Yes.
Versus the others, the others are kind of get to the point.
Well, I think that's
obviously the whole. That's the whole uniqueness of him. Yeah.
And I think that maintains throughout season 2. I mean, he's still absolutely batty, and he solves things in his own crazy, unique way. And I think, I certainly think Cosgrove plays a more sort of central role in season 2.
Yes.
It's more of a buddy thing. He's hanging out with his buddy. But the other thing too about season 2 is what we really wanted to continue was the fact that Freakazoid and Cosgrove and the Lobe and everybody knew that they were in a show. I mean, that was vital. Everybody, we're just saying the words here written on the script, and we're not taking any of this seriously. That was kind of and we sort of developed that in the only half hour we wrote for Tom. Was the Chip the only long form Freakazoid we ever did in the first season?
The first season. How about the one with they were singing the long song? Was that a half hour? Hello, Dolly. Was that a half-hour episode?
Yeah. That was supposed to be in season 1, but remember we had to carry it over because it was such a complicated piece. But again, for us, season 2 kind of felt okay because we were just going to goof whether the network liked it or not. So we were just like, and then sometimes we'd bring Dexter in. Sometimes we pretended like Dexter never even existed.
Yeah.
It was like whatever we needed to do, we did.
Yep.
That does seem to be the theme of season 2's, like, well, it is more Freakazoid and not Dexter, because the show is not Dexter and Freakazoid, it's Freakazoid.
You sound a little like you're underwater right now.
I do?
Yes.
It's kind of cutting out a little bit, unfortunately.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, now I hear you well.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I'm checking my voice settings, but what I was trying to say is, so it sounds like Freakazoid season 2 took out more. We saw less of Dexter, and it seemed like Freakazoid was kind of the main star, the main person, and I do remember that we did see scenes where we would see Freakazoid in Dexter's mind, and we see things from his perspective. So that kind of does prove it's like, okay, Dexter might as well just be the gateway to which Freakazoid enters through. They're not actually the same person. They're two different people inhabiting one body.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why I like Dexter so much, because I loved his reactions to these things and how Freakazoid would just have to come in and kind of, help out, because Dexter couldn't do anything, especially in the werewolf episode, which was obviously a love to the Lon Chaney Wolfman movie, which I loved.
Well, that's a Mitch Shower directed episode, and he is one of the great aficionados of that whole Universal monster period.
Yes, those were some great ones. I appreciated that. Well, I guess my next question is: we brought up Tim Curry. How much fun did he have voicing his character?
Well, let me think. He came in. It was just a one-day thing, right? So he came in with all the other actors. I remember, though, on that day, we had Tim Curry, we had Leonard Maltin, we had David Warner, we had Jonathan Harris, and Jonathan Harris.
Wow.
I think was so fun. Not for some reason, but they decided to get a camera crew in that day because Leonard Maltin was doing I forget what show he was on then, and they wanted to follow Leonard around being in a cartoon show.
Right.
And the camera people in the interview was focusing a lot on Tim Curry, and Jonathan Harris came in and goes, "Of course, they focus on him." Which if you knew Jonathan was so perfect, but also so perfect. It was like that was very Jonathan, but the other thing I'll say, and they don't do it this way anymore, but we recorded as an entire cast. I mean, sometimes I would have to do my stuff after, so that I could be a part of the note process and stuff. Not when Tom was there, because normally I would just be in there in the behind the mic, but sometimes. But it would. So if you can imagine, Tim Curry, Jonathan Harris, David Warner. I think we also had Maurice LaMarche. We had Tress McNeil. And Ed Asner, and then at one point in that script we had this. The cast had to sing "Carefully on Tiptoe Stealing," which is from Gilbert and Sullivan, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a disaster, right? which kind of was my hope, but then Tim Curry, I guess, and David Warner, obviously. I mean, they had done Gilbert and Sullivan some point when they were kids or whatever, and I just remember and Ed Asner, and they all sang it loud.
Wow.
They threw their hearts into it.
Yeah, but as far as Tim Curry doing his, like, they called me Mad Insane Wendell, I think all Andrea told him was, Tim, however you want to be this mad insane guy, go for it. And we just kind of sat there and listened, and I think it was all one take for Tim Curry.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because the thing about Tim Curry, he did a lot of voice acting back in the 90s, but this one right here in Freakazoid, when he played Dr. Mystico, he just went at it. Like, he looked like he had fun doing it, especially with the window line.
Yeah. He did, and he went absolutely insane, and it was kind of like it was a blast. And you have to remember, when we did Freakazoid, we would record it, I think, at 2:00 in the afternoon on like a Wednesday, and we would get Baroni's Pizza, and we would have the pizza there at 1:00.
Okay.
Now, normally when you're doing a session, most of the voice actors come in at like 1:55, right? And they're like, "Okay, I'm in, I'm out." But our cast would kind of filter in around 1. So I remember this time we had, like, I think it was Tim Curry and all those guys, and David Warner was filming Titanic, and he would be driving down from Long Beach, and I don't know, I was in a bunch of water today, and then Ricardo be like, I was in a water picture once, and then it was like this round table of all these actors sitting, and it was the most magical. And they're all eating pizza, and like juice is running down their things.
Oh my God.
I remember that. And they started always coming in around 1:00 and shooting the breeze for like an hour before. And then Andre.
Shut off on us again.
Oh, he glitched.
Right at the best part.
And then Andrea, take it from there, Paul. And then
So then Andre would come in, like at 1:55 and say, guys, we all go into the booth. We got a show to do. And then everyone would be like, okay. Like,
It's like,
we were having a good time having pizza. And the other thing I'll say, and Tom can attest to this, is that the way Andrea would do it is the cast would do an entire read-through before we actually rolled tape. Or sometimes we would roll, but that was just as a safety. But that way, the cast, having read the entire script once, could sound, that's joking. That joke wasn't what I thought it is. I'll do this, or I'll do that, and that, I think, and we did that on Animaniacs. And that's not done today at all. You never do a read through, and I think that. Tom, do you think that helped with a lot?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they got the context of everything they were saying, which again, they're just doing single lines nowadays. So they really became real acting participants. They were making the story work. Also, let's see, either Tom Madak or Harry Andronis would be the engineers on a lot of these recordings, and so when Tim Curry's going over the top, and you get one take. These guys were geniuses because that could have blown the mic out easily, but they were ready for him. They knew he was going there, and so we had really the A team on this coming and going.
Yeah, we did.
Nice.
That's amazing. That is, like, you're right. I've noticed that more and more when because I pay attention more to animation than I do live action stuff, and I noticed that what you guys said, it's like animation does not follow the same traditional standards of that it did back then. There is no actors don't record together to kind of get the energy captured. Now they record separately, so they have to imagine the other person there, and they don't do table reads. Well, they do table reads,
Simpsons does do a table read,
but I noticed table reads are more fun when they're doing them at like conventions or just as a fun little video or commentary, but they don't do them before they have to record, so that way they know the lines, they know the context, and that way it helps them kind of be on the same page, so to speak.
Right. Right. No, that's exactly that's true. And the other thing that happens is little accidents, like little goofs happen, and then it makes us laugh in the booth during the rehearsal, and then it's like, well, just say that again, or do that, or
Exactly.
I remember once for the Candle Gym episode, Kenneth Mars. You guys know who Kenneth Mars is?
Yes, I know who he is.
So,
I love him.
So Kenneth Mars is like, I mean, he
He glitched.
Oh, sorry.
He was. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, Kenneth Mars was in Young Frankenstein.
Yes.
He was in
Oh yeah.
what is
The
the one?
producers,
What's
the
Up,
producers.
Doc? The producers,
Yeah.
What's up, Doc? And Kenneth Mars just came in and he goes, how would you like me to do this? And we're like, can you do it? Hey, can you do it like remember Young Frankenstein? Can you do it like that guy? And he's like, yeah, I guess. Okay, yeah, do that. And so he just did the Young Frankenstein guy. It was hysterical. Yeah. So
Yes. Yeah.
Kenny Mars.
Kenny Mars.
Kenny Mars, a wonderful guy. I kiss him. A bear of a guy. I love him.
That's just so awesome. Again, that's probably a testament to I'd say all of the shows. It's not just one show, but it's all shows. It's like the shows that Tom, you produced, and Paul, that you worked on. But I think Freakazoid was kind of the last one. It was the pinnacle of, okay, we do what we do. We have fun with what we do. But at the end of the day, we're like, we don't want to go home and just feel like, well, that could have gone better, or maybe I could have done that better, or maybe this could have been written a little better. It was all just, it felt like, it sounded like Freakazoid just had everything, even though there was a rush to get it through. It doesn't sound like there was any dread. Like after you found out, it's like, okay, thank God, it worked. We're doing good. We're happy.
Well, we had brilliant directors on each episode too. We had Scott Gerald, Ronnie Del Carmen, Dan Reba, Eric Radomski, Mitch Schauer. I forget. I think I missed somebody, but Jack Hyder. We had these guys. Not that they were old people, but they were veterans of doing great work.
Yes.
And what they brought to each episode, they brought a lot of themselves, and they had great crews. I mean, these shows looked beautiful. Many of them are just fantastic looking. And, none of us had worked on Freakazoid prior to him showing up on that September morning. And there he was, fully alive. Yep.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll just add to what Tom said is, like, you would write it, we would record it, it would get animated, it would come back, and then kind of sometimes the real work began, because you'd put it together and then you would just either extend a joke, or you would add like you were talking about, adding the live action stuff. It was like it never left the editing room until we were all laughing. And so we did, Tom, especially in the first season, did so much work in the editing room of like, we're not laughing yet. And sometimes it's a matter of extending something or shortening something, or I remember one time we were doing a scene, I think this might've been second season, where Freakazoid, it's Dexter's date, and Freakazoid got zapped, and he's kind of acting weird. And Cosgrove says, "Hey, Freakazoid, do you want to go out for a fat-free yogurt?" And Freakazoid's like, "Not now, Cosgrove. I have to go do something." So he does his arms in the air and starts to run away.
Yeah.
And then he ran away, and we're like, "Huh, that's not very funny." And then Al Breitenbach was like, well, "What if I just kept it going for a really long time?" And we're like, well, can you do that? He goes, "Give me a minute." He starts playing around, and we were using Avid there. I think it was first generation Avid, like it was the first time. And he did some things, and then he pressed play, and Freakazoid literally does that cycle. I think the first time we did it went on for like 45 seconds.
Right.
I call it the treadmill.
And we're like, maybe not 45 seconds, but maybe 20.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we saw. So again, every division had their opportunity to sort of boost the comedy and do something weird.
Yep. Very good. That's a great add point. Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. It sounds like it was a team effort. It wasn't just
Yes, it was.
Everybody got to be involved. Everybody got to contribute. It wasn't just a singular set of people. Everybody was there to help bring Freakazoid to the best it could be.
There's a great little bit that Paul added in one of the shows.
Really?
That at the very end of the show, I don't know how you got this done. Did Rich Ahrens animate it for you? But Gene McCurdy's little head body pops out at the end of the show. Well, how does this happen, Paul? What was this?
So you guys know, obviously, in Python, the Terry Gilliam did all the animation.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the cutout sort of animation. Yes.
Yeah.
And so we thought it would be funny to have Gene McCurdy's head bounce in at the end and say, and I used to do it in a Gene McCurdy impression, like, and be like, oh. And I said, on behalf of everyone at Ordnance Animation, we want to thank you for watching our fine programming. And then, and I still am not quite sure why, we decided to have Bob Daly and Terry Semmel, who were like the heads of Warner Brothers, not just of Warner Brothers Studio, but the head of Warner Brothers, come in wearing
co-chairman of the studio.
Right. And we put them in money, like $ suits, with bags of money over a sweatshop. And they came in linking arms and dancing, going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we just thought that was the funniest thing ever. And we had it animated. I don't think we sent it overseas. Someone did it just.
I think we did it right in house. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think they appreciated that little joke that we did. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. But it was stuff like that. And then we would bury long, ridiculous things in the end credits that were just really dumb.
Yes, the Freakazoid comes out at the end of the end credits, right as the song pauses, the beat, and then he just says something like little PSA morals.
Yeah. One of them was, go wake up your parents and tell them you're hungry, quick.
That's the one that made me laugh the most.
I think I can relate to that one.
Here's a sound that you don't want to hear at 3 a.m.
Right.
I think I can relate to the first one that Paul mentioned, because as a kid, I used to wake up my parents and tell them I was hungry.
I did the exact same thing. Like, as soon as you said it, I go like, sure, why not?
But I did it before Freakazoid could tell me to do it.
Hey, Paul, tell them about Jack Valenti.
Oh, yes, Jack.
Is Paul there?
Yeah, I'm here. So Jack Valenti was president of Motion Picture Association of America. He's obviously a very big guy. And
yes,
I was going to write the Freakazoid origin story. And I always like to do something weird at the beginning. So for no good reason, I said, now, ladies and gentlemen, the president of the Motion Picture Association of America, Mr. Jack Valenti. And then I thought, well, it'd be funny. So then I started writing, hello, I'm Jack Valenti, and these are my cheeks. These are my cheeks. These are my cheeks. And a lot of people have asked me, and it's just this stupid rant to get us into the episode. Anyway, I wrote it. That was it. We sent it off to Steven. Steven liked the episode, and he came back with this note. And the note was, I can get you Jack Valenti.
Oh, my God.
And we're like, well, we don't really want Jack Valenti, but I mean, if you want us to use him. So he goes, yeah, I really want you to use Jack Valenti and be funny. He's a good friend of mine. He owes me a favor.
Nice.
And then you just want him to come in and do that? And he goes, no. Have him do something funny about the rating system. And I'm like, wait, what? So something funny about the rating system? Yeah, it'll be a hoot. So remember that, Tom? And Tom, you came in and said, look, Steven wants you to write something funny about the rating. So, and I'm like, okay. So Jack Valenti was gonna. So I wrote this real dumb thing, and then Jack
And
Valenti.
Jack Valenti had like a felt board where he's putting
Yeah.
symbols of like the different members of your family on the felt board.
Yeah,
Right.
he explained G, PG, PG-13, X, and NC-17, and he came in. Obviously, we didn't do a group record with him because he was Jack Valenti, and that would have scared him a lot. So he came in by himself, and he just sort of came in as Jack Valenti. And where should I sit? Where should I sit? What should I do? And he, and we sat him down. We gave him a microphone, and then he started reading.
Yes.
We started recording. He goes, "Hello." And he read the script. He goes, "Hello, I'm Jack Valenti, and these are my cheeks." And it only occurred. It only.
Yeah, little breakup here, but
it only occurred to me at that moment when he said that I had never thought about the fact that Jack Valenti would be saying, "Hello, I'm Jack Valenti, and these are my cheeks." Like, did Jack Valenti, was he proud of his cheeks? Was he embarrassed about his cheeks? I didn't really know, but and then at the very end, he did the whole thing. He did it great, and then he said, "Are we done?" We go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, record." He goes, "Hit record." And Tom, you were there. He goes, "Hit record." And he goes, "Anyway, the only reason I'm doing that is because Steven Spielberg is a friend of mine." Okay, remember that, Tom?
Yeah,
So then Tom was like, "Oh, we're leaving that in."
Right? Perfect.
Yeah. And then we even had Jack Valenti say stupid things like, "And now a scene of a man wrestling a bear for no reason," just like all this random stuff that Jack Valenti, who was in the airplane when LBJ was sworn in after the assassin, it was like
oh, you broke up again.
When people want to, you can't imagine getting these serious, important people on the planet doing such silliness. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. There you go. Well, everyone, I have to leave soon, unfortunately.
Oh no, it's okay. Thank you for being here. I actually have one more additional question, and I can talk to you privately about this. But since the show is going to be celebrating it, both I and the show will be celebrating our 25th birthday. I have a question. Can I send my DVD copies to both of you to sign, because I love the show so much, and Paul, you're so awesome. You really are.
I believe we can make an arrangement for that.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, can I ask Paul? I like to ask him, like, "Hey, Freakazoid, do you want to go eat a mint?"
Do I?
He was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Humanoid was waiting for that moment. I could tell.
Yes.
Then, or as John McCann wrote, "Then let's all together go now." All right, everybody.
Thank
Thanks
you,
a
Paul.
lot, everybody.
Take care, Paul.
Okay, take care.
Thank
See
you,
ya.
Paul.
Bye, guys.
See you, Paul.
Thank you all for joining so much. Sorry if your questions didn't happen. It was such a short time we had, but it was such a great time as well.
Yes, it was
So
short.
also,
Sweet.
thank you, Richard, for your time as well.
Thank
And also, if you want to put your Twitter plug in here, you could do it in the chat. I probably should have done it earlier. I was putting theirs in there. Obviously, and also Humanoid Freak. This is his first episode, 126. So I haven't been in every episode, but I definitely been in, I would say probably majority. I would say I'm in most episodes.
Yes, no. And I also want to give a special shout out to the fan. I feel bad that I can't remember his name, his Twitter handle, but thank you to the fan that tagged us and asked us, could we interview Paul? Because
if you could get Paul
Yeah, that's what started this all, wasn't it?
Yes, exactly. So, and thank you. There he is. Yes, Richard 111. Thank you again for getting the ball rolling on this. We did. It was like it was great to be back and great to talk to Paul and Tom again about Freakazoid. It was very short, like Nidge said, but I kind of expected that because these guys, unfortunately, they have lives, they need to do stuff, so they can't give us like 2 hours worth of their time. But what they did give us, I think, was very good because again, they made us laugh and they gave us great insight onto the show. So I think that's very good, and this is a great way to kind of celebrate Freakazoid's 28th anniversary coming up in 3 months. we should probably get going because
Yeah.
this is just been a Freakazoid one. But again,
Yeah.
I love talking to those guys. They're so hilarious. And again, thanks so much for having me back on, guys. Even if I showed my rust and I wasn't completely on fire as much as I would.
That was you, Rusted. No,
dude.
man.
I
You're
told
like
you
professional.
I told Humanoid before we started. I said, dude, Richard's getting just don't worry about it. He was nervous, Humanoid. I'm like, don't worry about it. Just watch Richard. He's got it. He's gonna start off a little bit kind of but all of a sudden, just once he hits the ground, he's gonna be like,
Yeah, it's literally like riding a bike. Like it is. It's like riding a bicycle. The muscle memory will come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So all right, cool.
Anyways,
thanks everybody.
Words,
and we'll talk to y'all later then. And if you want to say goodbye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
And then also, in the words of Dexter's mom, have a good time now.